Okay, I am live on some platforms, but not on all. So let's see what's happening here. Hmm. All right. All right, people, let me know if you can see me. I want to make sure I am live on all platforms. And I know that Facebook has certain issues, so it is not allowing me to go live right now. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. Well, let me know in the chat if you can see me. Let me know where you see me and where you're seeing me. Great to see you all. Hello, Legacy Builders. I am across all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm looking at you from everywhere. So hopefully you can see me live now. Come on in. I'm just giving it a couple, just a few seconds. There we go. So everyone can see me. Unfortunately, it looks like there's a minor issue in our Facebook community and hmm, not being seen there. So, all right. Well, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll be able to see it there and I will share later. Can you hear me? So let me know. I see some people are on. Let me know if you can hear me and as well as see me. All right. And then we'll get started. I'm going to make sure these comments, all right, make sure these comments are working. All right. Oh, I see a comment. Let's see. There we go. Okay, Rhonda. Yes, thank you. You can see me on Facebook. Wonderful. Now I can get started because I'm not starting unless I make sure you can hear me. I'm not here to speak to myself. I'm here to speak to you, my legacy builder. So let me get comfortable and get this started. Good evening, legacy builders. Thank you so much for joining me. For those who may not know me, or this is your first experience with me, my name is Marcella Mullen Williams. I am a behavioral financial advisor, legacy strategist, and the co-founder of Legacy Builder Group. You hear you. Great. Wonderful. Hello. Welcome, Dr. Anelli. Great to see you. And thank you for letting me know that you can see and hear me. All right. If you're tuning in right now, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening. And I'm not going to be with you long. I promise. I know we hear that in church all the time and we're still long, but I'm not going to. I'm here just to share some great news, some announcements. I'll put it that way, announcements. And then also to just meet you where you are in these very interesting times that we live in. If you are tuning in, I'm sure you probably are feeling the same thing that many of us are feeling, a shift. There's a shift happening. There's a shift happening economically, socially, politically, emotionally. Something is happening. If you are feeling a shift, let me know in the chat. Just say shift. Yes, let me know what you're feeling. So I know we're on the same page. And so tonight, we're talking about what that means for your money and your mindset. This is why I wanted to come on. It's been some time since I've actually been with you live. For those who've been following me on Facebook on Tea Time Tuesday, we did have a pause. And that's because we're doing something new that is able to meet you where you are. And that's what I'm going to bring to you tonight. If you didn't come, okay, I'm sorry, I'm checking the comments really fast. Okay. Here's the point I want to make here, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. You didn't come this far just to stop here. You didn't come this far in your life, work as hard as you did to come to a place in which life is going to just hit you. You're going to run into a wall and then stop. You've broken barriers and you've reached financial milestones that that have been challenging for you. You worked really hard, and now it's time to protect it. Now it's time to make sure that everything is in place. And how do you do that when emotions are on an all-time high? Because we're seeing what's happening, we're feeling what's happening. I see you put shift in the comments. Exactly. The economy is shifting. Inflation is increasing. And uncertainty is causing people to freeze or even worse, panic, right? However, we know that when it comes to building wealth and leaving a legacy, there is never a good time to panic. Why? Because emotions destroy wealth, period. Emotions destroy your wealth building potential. And we have to keep that in mind because in the US, where I am, in case anyone's watching me or listening to me from elsewhere, we faced economic challenges before. We've been through that. We know we've been through, I think people under the sound of my voice, most of you have experienced 20, 2008, 2008. And then there's 2020, right? How many of you remember 2008? That was a very challenging time in this country. And then we went through 2020, the pandemic, and how that impacted us economically. Now let's look at 2025. All right. And there's a similar feel. There's similar language we're hearing, recessions, inflation, all the buzzwords that were there in 2008, 2020. When it comes to the markets, we're hearing a lot of the same language, and some of us are panicking. But I want to know how many of you are aware or have heard of the great wealth transfer? Let me know in the chat for those who are watching live. Who has heard of the great wealth transfer? Well, if you haven't, you should, because it's happening right now. And I want to make you aware of that if you are not. Approximately 84 trillion in assets are expected to transfer by 2045. That's not 84 million, 84 billions, 84 trillion. And that's coming from baby boomers, from the silent generation. Money from these generations are transferring as we speak to their heirs in this time frame. And ladies, and let me just talk to my ladies for a moment. In 2020, two-thirds of the private wealth in this country, in the US, will be held by us, by women. This will be the largest wealth transfer by generation, by gender in history, the largest wealth transfer that we've seen in history. So this is what the great wealth transfer is all about. And I want you to be mindful of that. I said 20, I'm sorry, thank you, by 2030, by 2030, two-thirds of the private wealth in the US will be held by women. Huge. So, and we're talking about trillions here. So I am bringing this awareness to you right now because within that, there is opportunity. There are distractions in the form of media, news, entertainment, edutainment, straight out gossip, okay? There are distractions that are intentionally designed to distract you. And they're there to distract you from capitalizing on the opportunities that will transform your life and the lives of generations to come. So I want you to be aware that there are forces here to distract you from taking advantage of the opportunities that may not be so obvious for many when it comes to this market and what's going on right now. But for those who are awake and who are paying attention, it's here. It's here right now. Those who have a plan will build wealth. Those who react will lose wealth. Period. They'll lose it. But we know this, right? We know that planning matters and not moving on our emotions is moving on our reacting and being emotional, making emotional decisions is a bad thing. It's not some kind of revolutionary concept. I'm not telling you something that you've never heard before. So if that's the case, then why do so many people who say they want to build wealth, they want to build and leave a legacy, why do so many of these people get caught up in emotional cycles that are driven by economics, politics, and social changes all around us? Why? Well, I'll tell you why, and feel free to drop in the chat why you think. But I'm going to tell you why. Why, when we know, we don't do? Well, that is basically why. When it comes to money, just because you know better does not mean you do better. And there's a lot around that. Wealth without emotional mastery is a setup for disaster. I'll say that again. Wealth without emotional mastery is a setup for disaster. And a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I'm just going to throw in a little scripture in there. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And that's a form of double-mindedness, knowing how you should be responding, but acting a different way. Double-mindedness. That is instability. Those that build and sustain wealth through challenging economic times like these, they don't make decisions from emotion. They think strategically. That's what drives their decisions. Strategy, not emotions. They prepare mentally before making their next money moves. In other words, they prep before they play. They prep before they play. And that is why Mark and I created, and for those of you who may know Mark, he's my brother and business partner. So Mark and I created the Legacy Pregame podcast. And that's what we're excited to announce to you all tonight, that we are launching the Legacy Pregame podcast. And really this concept came about because we wanted to create a space for first generation high earners and legacy builders, those who were not born with a blueprint, those who have to figure so much of the wealth building principles out on their own. We wanted to create a space for you legacy builders to get ahead of the noise, the distractions, regulate your emotions, and protect what you've built. You have to protect what you've built because there are forces, and I can't overemphasize this enough, that are intentional about ripping it from you. The concept of legacy pregame is really the routine you develop to actively create both a mindset and an environment for building legacy wealth. Before you make your money moves, before you take action, there's a plan in place. There's a mindset in place. There's energy. There's the right energy in place. And the concept of the pregame came about because, like many of you, I like sports. You know, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, all the places. I'm sure you're like me. Well, some of you, I'm sure not everyone likes sports, but I like sports. My favorite sport happens to be football, American football, because I can't just say football. I'm Caribbean, so football is a different thing in Trinidad. But American football happens to be my favorite sport. And most athletes have a pregame routine that they go through that allows them to do a few things. The pregame routine that they go through allows them to minimize distractions and maintain focus, reduce anxiety, and to obtain clarity. They do that by regulating their conditions, their environment, before they even get on the field or the court. They prepare their minds and their bodies before they hit the field. That's what many pregame routines are about. And I know as I was going through this process of, preparing the podcast and being intentional about this, I was kind of looking up some athletes and what their pregame routine was like. So I came across Serena Williams' pregame routine, and I share about it on episode 1 of the podcast. I'll tell you how you can access that. I share about her routine because you can see how intentional she is about getting her head in the game, getting her body in the game, and make sure she is setting up her environment to win. And it's no wonder she is arguably the greatest athlete ever. But this is what Legacy Per Game is about. It's the foundation for achieving the results you desire. Because I've spent too many years in this industry, in the financial industry, watching people self-sabotage. Why do we say, why do we start? Why do we say we want this? And we get to a certain point and we fall flat. And I truly believe that it's because the foundation was not built to move forward. So let me take you through our framework. This is why we created the Legacy Pregame framework, to give you the power to master your mindset and mission so you can make financial moves that build legacy wealth. We want you to be the master of your mindset, your mission, and your money. So legacy is an acronym. So the L is for legacy lens, E, emotional mastery, G, generational goals, A, alignment audit, C, capital strategy, and Y, your next move, because there's always another move to make at the end. And it's a cycle, a good cycle that we continue. So the Legacy Builder podcast, we will be bringing you every week. And Mark and I are so excited about this. So we are giving you mindset mastery, money strategies, and real conversations between ourselves and with guests, with experts, and with other legacy builders like you who will be sharing their experiences. We want to provide you with all the tools that you need to lead your family's future. This is going to be powerful, and we want you tuned in. We're going to take you through the framework step by step. Each one of those steps, we're going to take you for the first few episodes. We're going to just kind of lay it all out. That's what I'm trying to say. Lay it all out for you so you can see what the framework is all about. And each episode will be about developing that legacy mindset. So the Legacy Pregame podcast launches tomorrow. So woohoo, tomorrow, that is June 26th. So excited. It launches tomorrow, and it's on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. Those are the main ones where you'll be able to listen to the podcast. So you can subscribe, do all the things. And this is what I'm going to have you do now, because it's not just about the podcast. Oh, yes, we have tools for you to take you through the process with us. One of the things you want to keep handy when you listen to this podcast is have a journal. And if you're like me, you collect journals. I have, right here on my desk and in my drawer, I have a number of journals, used and unused, right? So I want you to get yourself a nice, beautiful journal and designate it for Legacy Pregame, okay? The Legacy Pregame podcast. And then I want you to follow the Legacy Pregame podcast on these platforms. Like I said, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, subscribe, YouTube, whatever works best for you. The first episode is available now. So you who are listening here have the opportunity to actually go in and listen to the very first episode. Don't do it yet. Wait till I'm done. I'm almost done. Don't go there yet, but you can go and subscribe. And so I want you to definitely do that. The next thing I want you to do is download the free Legacy Clarity Workbook. We provided you, and I'm going to pull up, that's where you can find it. Go to legacypregamepodcast.com. It's a legacypregamepodcast.com. And you will have access to our Legacy Clarity Workbook. This workbook accompanies the podcast, especially the first few episodes as we go through the framework. It's going to provide, it provides you with prompts. It's providing you with everything that you need to learn and grow through this process. If for those who know me and been on this journey with me, you know that I'm not here just to talk and just to provide fluff, but I'm going to provide practices, strategies, and opportunities for you to ask yourself some deep questions so that you can grow through this. Because as I always say, I truly believe that the quality of life that you want, the quality of your life, is determined by the quality of the questions that you're willing to ask yourself. And so I've helped you ask yourself some quality questions by providing them in the Legacy Clarity Workbook. So you can go right now to legacypregamepodcast.com. You'll see the form there, sign up and download your free workbook. All right, so that's the second thing. And then finally, I want you to share the podcast with your fellow legacy wealth builders. Share. So often in the past, people have asked me, oh man, or who've been on Tea Time Tuesday, who've listened to me, any of my master classes. They're like, how can I share this with my family? How can I share this with my friends? Especially the inner circle. We know about one of our pillars is family, which is interdependent relationships. So how do I share this with the relationship that matter most so that we're all on the same page? Well, the Legacy Pregame Podcast is designed to do just that. So share. And then once you listen to the podcast, I want you to leave a review. Please leave a review because by doing so, it allows others to find the podcast. So listen to the first episode. You have first access to listen to the podcast right now tonight, maybe when I'm off, or first thing in the morning. And then tomorrow, episode 2 will drop. So the official launch is tomorrow, but you all for being here have special access. And we're excited for that. So thank you. Thank you. You have your instructions. Again, I want you to stay on top of your emotional mastery. And like I say, that's the E in legacy. I want you to remember that these times, these economic times, are an opportunity. They are a set up, not a setback. But it only works if you are mastering your mindset, your mission, and your money. And you have to do that through emotions by staying on top and seeing that there are opportunities here. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that. And you have the website there. You know what to do. Take action. Take action now. I will pause in case there's any question. I won't jump off right away, but I said I won't hold you long. That's it. I want you to live well, build wisely, and prepare purposefully. Prepare with purpose. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me, LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me, YouTube. Thank you for joining me, Facebook, and thank you for joining me, Instagram. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat and I will address them. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I can't wait for you to listen to the Legacy Pregame Podcast. I will see you and talk to you soon.